Hi, everybody. It's time for your Farm and Ranch News. Well, one of the featured speakers here in Fairmont at this year's Montana Farm Bureau Summer Conference was Montana State University Sheep Extension Specialist Brent Rader. And as luck would have it, Mr. Rader joins us today to talk all things sheep. And I think one of the first things we want to talk about, Brent, is the excitement at MSU these days regarding that brand new wool lab that's in the works.
Yeah, it's been a long time coming. Everybody thinks it just kind of happened overnight, but we're 10 or 12 years into this process, and thanks to the legislator and our agency and industry partners like Farm Bureau Association, which I'm here talking at today, we did get some funding. And we're kind of in the final lap of that. We're looking at moving in the spring of 2026. So February of 26. I was just in the lab last week. Looks fantastic. And we still have a bit of fundraising to do for equipment, things like that. But yeah, we're going to be up and running by early next year. So.
Why is this wool lab so important to the entire sheep industry, not just here in Montana, but really across America?
Well, I think the current facility served the industry for about 75 years. And so we're trying to build this facility to take us into the next 75 years. I think the American consumer at one point is going to realize we've only had polyester used in clothing since about 1952, and they've continued to take market share. There's some environmental issues with polyester clothing in terms of microfiber shedding and our clean water and things like that. So I think the whole natural fiber, we produce hemp in Montana, flax, all these other natural fibers in the U.S., cotton. I think at some point in the future, a future generation is going to say, what did you guys do? And why are we not using sustainable natural fibers that are grown in the United States? And I think the wool labs, the new wool lab is going to play a big role in that. Yeah.
Well, absolutely. Well, there is a ton of opportunity still in the U.S. sheep industry. Of course, the lamb side is doing a little bit better here in 2025 than what we've seen in years past. And by golly, even the wool market
Yeah.
has come back a little bit.
Yeah.
Talk about that.
Yeah, it's not well publicized right now. I don't think anybody wants to jinx it too much, but we've probably got as good a wool prices right now as we've had maybe since 2019. And really that came about, there's been a lot of negotiations with tariffs. This current administration, we had a steel dispute in their first administration. And because of that dispute, we ended up with a 25% tariff on U.S. wool going into China. Now, recently, just about probably less than a month ago, with the negotiations they had on tariff negotiations, that wool tariff on U.S. wool going into China was dropped to 10%. So 15% reduction in tariff, and the Chinese mills are buying U.S. wool again. And so it's good to see some wool moving again.
Well, just another great example of all the important work and research that's being done at America's land grant universities, in this case, Montana State University in Bozeman.